Well, welcome to Monday Night Sports. This is Dupe, your host, and we are live here on a Monday night. It is a hot one here in Seattle, and tell you what, we're gonna kind of recap, if you will, the NBA draft. Give you our thoughts on it. When I say our thoughts, I'm going to be joined by award-winning journalist, Hall of Fame journalist David DuPree as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft, and I want to get his take on just kind of how the draft can shift the momentum for a franchise as we talk about that. So we'll have him on whenever David is there. Bring him on in, and we'll get it going. But big congratulations. Hey, Dave, there you are. How you doing, man? We're live. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Looks like you got a trim there, huh, man?
Okay. Yeah, I got that little thing going on there. You know, that's a little. Every once in a while, I get a haircut every 6 months, whether I need it or
not. All right. Well, I get a haircut every day. Okay, every morning. We keep it clean. You know. Anyway, with that said, NBA draft. And first, before we get going, I just want to be able to say. I want to say congratulations. Three guys from Seattle, all that those of us that, are basketball fans, of prep basketball, those of us at Rainier Avenue Radio, we covered all of these guys. Paolo Banchero, his name had been mentioned potentially going number one, and he was just the number one pick by Orlando. Man, that is just huge. And David, I want to get your take kind of what that's like for a young kid, and then just how much can teams and franchises shift the momentum, shift kind of the trajectory of where they're going with the draft. Also, big congratulations to Tari Eason, and he was the number 17 pick. If you weren't watching the draft, he was the number 17 pick by the Houston Rockets. And then also MarJon Beauchamp, and we'll talk more about MarJon. He was the 24th pick by the Milwaukee Bucks, but MarJon really took a different path to get there. And a kid who bounced around a few different high schools here in Seattle, went to a prep school, took a year off, with COVID and everything. But, again, all three guys, just talented, long, rangy guys. Paolo, I think they say list him at 6'10" or so. And I remember Paolo his freshman year. We were doing Rainier Avenue Radio, doing a high school, O'Day high school football game, and Paolo was the backup quarterback, and he went in. I think he was probably about 6'7", 6'8" at that time, and he was really good. I was doing the play-by-play of the game. I'm like, man, who is this kid? And I'm like, man, should he be starting at quarterback? And then a couple of people say, oh, wait till you see him play basketball, and the rest, as they say, is history. Tari Eason, I remember him as a freshman at Garfield and coming off the bench, hitting some threes, and just a tough player. And MarJon Beauchamp, again, a kid who, just like I said, bounced around a little bit. Was at Garfield, was at Rainier Beach. I think it was at Nathan Hale, but he, again, just a great talent. And all three of those guys making their mark. And congratulations to them from Rainier Avenue Radio. But David, as we talk, first of all, I want to talk about Paolo Banchero. And from my standpoint, just, a guy that's 6'10" and can do everything and has guard-like skills. I see why that's tough to pass up on.
Yeah, see, the trouble is he's ready to play. The other two, when you see the Gonzaga kid, Chet, when you see Chet,
Holmgren.
I think of Sean Bradley, who was a good player, but he's not going to turn your franchise around. And Jabari Smith, he needs help to get us a shot. And actually Holmgren may be a little better at that, but Paolo is more in the mold of Jason Tatum, a 6'10" guy who can handle the ball outside and you can run an offense through him. And he can get his own shot, and he can keep other people involved. And that's where the team is going, away from just a straight, sheer point guard situation to a big guy handler. Like sure, Marcus Smart is considered their point guard at Boston, but look at what Jason Tatum is. He's handling the ball out front all the time. And I think that's what Orlando is looking for, a kid who they can give the ball to, and he can generate stuff, away from the basket. He can pass, he can penetrate, he can shoot. And I really doubt if Holmgren or Smith is going to start right away. I mean, they might, but Banchero's going to be right in the lineup from day one, and they're going to be, they're going to be counting on him to do stuff. And it's just a matter of he can do things with the ball where the other two have to have help in order to be effective.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. We saw some of the highlights here as you were talking. That was the one thing that I noticed about him at O'Day High School. He was an exceptional passer. He just, I mean, I was amazed when I saw him, at freshman year, but then, we covered O'Day games all 4 years. He was here, and just his ability to, as you said, David, to create with the ball. He can create his own shot. He can get to the rack. He can hit the three, but his ability to pass the ball it's pretty special. And I mean, it reminds you, I'm not necessarily putting him at the level of a Magic Johnson, but a big guy like that just has the ability to find his teammates. And I think I agree with you. He's going to come in. He's going to make an impact pretty quickly.
He's by far. And the thing is, the pros look at how does your game translate. Yeah. And I mean, from what I understand, I didn't see him play at O'Day, but suppose he played the same way he played at Duke, and he's going to play the same way here, where Smith is going to have trouble. Again, you say, well, can he get his shot? Holmgren, is he strong enough? But Banchero, you have no concern. His game translates to exactly what they want. So I think it was I'm not going to say a gutsy pick because they knew what they wanted, and
right.
And he can play. I mean, of course, I'm like you, Rick. I was a little rooting for him to be number one because he's from Seattle. But I remember the first time I saw him play on TV, I said, "What?" Because you had told me about him.
Right.
I was calling and said, "O'Day High School, man, this guy can play. What the heck is going on here?"
Yeah, no doubt. Comes from good genes. As his mother, Rhonda, great athlete, great basketball player at Franklin and University of Washington. But yeah, Paulo, and he has so much upside. And that's the thing. I mean, he's 19. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's 20 yet. And I mean, again, this time last year, he had just graduated from high school.
but see, Rick, you say he has an upside. See, that's what's misleading. He can't improve, but he is already at a level that means you're not drafting him on potential.
Yeah.
You're drafting Holmgren and Smith on potential, on what they might become. You're drafting Paolo because he can play right now, and he's going to do exactly what we need him to do. And they've got confidence in him. So
well, and I look at guys like, again, and these are the elite, but Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, guys who came into the league and I mean, we're just again at a class by themselves, but they work so hard to improve every facet of their game. And Paulo certainly seems to be that type of kid is going to put the work in and continue to improve. And it'll be fun. I think a lot of Seattle fans here obviously will be rooting for him, as he puts on that Magic uniform and we see what he does. But man, what a special night. And I don't know, we had some video. I don't know if we have access to it now, but it was just cool when Adam Silver stepped up to the podium
and said, 2022 NBA Draft. The Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero from Duke University.
And Paulo sporting the purple suit. Okay. But yeah, that I mean, come on, that is just so special. And if you saw the interview when he sat down, and Dale, you can come back out of that video. He sat him down, and they had him and his mother. And unfortunately, they ran out of time. He didn't get a chance to have his mother make a comment. But he was kind of, he's man. I'm having trouble trying to express what I want to say. He was having trouble saying it. Well, here's a little bit, and now he had kind of composed himself a little bit.
And then probably like 20, 30 seconds before the commissioner, walked out to announce the pick, he looked at me and said, "Congratulations." So that's how it happened.
So as a number one pick, as the face of a franchise, so many times people are going to talk about things that happen on the floor. But I believe one of the reasons why you went number one is the things you're going to bring off the floor and in the locker room. Talk about that side of what you plan on bringing to the table in Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, I'm a great leader, and I don't force it upon anybody. I'm just a guy who's going to get along with all the guys in the locker room, but also have a competitive mindset and bring a winning attitude, bring a fierce competitive mindset, but also, work with my teammates and and pick their brains and just try and be the best leader I can be.
You watch the league, you've seen what this is all about, and you knew what you were entering into. What do you expect of yourself your first year in the National Basketball Association?
Man, I expect to have a great year. I expect to, come out and show what I can do. It's going to be ups and downs. It ain't always going to be pretty. But, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do what I do. And so, I'm confident in that, and I'm ready to, get out there.
There it is. I'm gonna do what I do. But I mean, I like the confidence, but I mean, also a level-head understanding. They're gonna be ups and downs. I'm not gonna come in and dominate and what have you. David, can you talk about? I mean, your career. I mean, you have been around, and I love the stories that you and I have talked about. You've shared about following the Bulls, as they were going after their 6 titles and what have you. But can you talk about how a draft can change, literally, change the trajectory of a franchise? And I think of, go back in the NBA it was kind of, you didn't know what was going to happen with the NBA when the draft, came up and the Lakers took Magic and Boston took Bird. But talk about how, it could potentially, and I'm looking at more at, I look at like Houston, for example, had 3 number 1 picks. It'll be interesting to see how much of an impact those 3 guys, have. We'll talk about, Tari Eason, who's going there. But how much can a draft potentially change the fortunes of a franchise?
Well, you got to look at what happens to teams that lose. Remember, the Lakers got the first pick because they had Cleveland's first round pick, and Cleveland had the worst record, so the Lakers, and so they picked Magic. The Celtics, they drafted Larry Bird the year before. Okay, so he was almost free. And remember Kareem, it was a coin flip. And Milwaukee happened to win, so Phoenix is stuck with Milwaukee, and they get Kareem. So a lot of it is luck. You've got to be. Now they have a conditional number 1, whether protected, so it's not going to be the first pick and all this kind of stuff. So You're not going to luck into a clear-cut number 1 pick anymore. So that's why you got to be real careful on who you pick. And I think, Willie Green is a great coach, I think, in Orlando. And that's going to help Banchero a lot, because he's going to a coach that players respect, and he knows how to deal with a young team. And so the NBA is still built on the draft. No matter what anybody says, oh, sure, you can sign a free, but the draft is where you get your core of players. And where do you think Anthony come from? Where does LeBron come from? The draft is what you got to bank on. Luka Doncic. Everybody's not a first-round pick. Everybody isn't the first pick. But the draft is how you build a team. And so that your scouting department, your drafting is the second most important thing about the team. The first and most important is the person who knows how to do your salary cap.
Yeah.
But after that person,
you gotta run the business.
But after that person, it's your scouting department, because you got to have players. You can't. The NBA is not college. It's not high school. Right. If you don't have players, you're not winning. I don't care who your coach is. If you don't have the horses, you ain't winning. Period. Yeah. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Well, gee, we have no. If you got the stars, you're gonna win. If you don't, you got no shot. And that's why the draft is so important. You have to project. This guy is going to provide us with this, and this is going to make. Wait a second, I just saw something. Doesn't your other boy from Seattle play for them? Doesn't Markelle Fultz play for them?
For Orlando?
Yeah. Oh Lord, they got another. Yeah.
Well, and they got. So I'm looking at the roster here. So Markelle Fultz is there, and struggled in Philly, but then as he's gone to Orlando, I started to kind of realize his potential. Also, another player who's a veteran now, but is still on the roster from the University of Washington, Terrence Ross, was up in Toronto.
Terrence Ross is a good player.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've got. I mean, I'm looking at their roster. You got Cole Anthony, you got Mo Bamba. It'd be interesting. I'm curious about this guy, David. I'm wondering. I'm looking at their roster at 7'2" Bol, and what's a really good talent at Oregon. Will he develop into a talent?
No, Rick. Anybody who's got 2 names, he just isn't quite. No, he ain't going to.
Just based on the name, Bowl Square. Huh?
Yeah, Bowl. Come on, man. The only place that counts is New York. It's so nice you name it twice. But Bowl. No, I mean he's adequate, but he's not gonna be. You know.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he can serve a purpose, but he's. I'm not. If I'm counting on Bull to lead me to the promised land, it ain't gonna happen.
Right. But yeah, looking at the roster, you got Fultz. I mean, they've got a young roster. Terrence Ross is the second oldest. You got Robin Lopez is at 34. He's there, and then Terrence Ross at 31, and then you know the roster. I mean, you're talking about 27, and then 26, and the rest of the players are 25, 24 younger. And Paulo, I'm 99% sure Paulo's 19. I don't think he's had his 20th birthday yet. But again, just graduated from.
But he's a grown man. See.
Yeah.
And you got to. That's how LeBron had such a great season. He was a grown man. He went from birth, puberty, grown man. You know, there was no logical order of stuff.
I remember. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Monday Night Sports. I'm Duke. That's David DuPree. We're just kind of breaking down the NBA draft. We're really talking about the three guys from Seattle that were drafted. We got about 8 minutes here or so. I want to talk about the other two, Torrey Eason and Marjon Beauchamp. But Dave, I remember, kind of having a conversation with you, and you were telling me about LeBron. I'm pretty sure it was after his sophomore year, and you said there's this kid in Ohio, and if the NBA could draft juniors, they would draft him. And at that time, you said there's no question you would be let me rephrase that. You didn't say he would be drafted. You said he would be the number one pick. And,
absolutely.
He went on, obviously his junior year, really started getting national attention. The senior year, they were on TV and what have you. But but I remember you talking about him. I have a friend who had a son that was in that area, and was telling me about LeBron as well, and just saying that you kind of like you said, he was a man among boys.
Yeah, but he's a once in a generation type. I mean, you got to remember, LeBron really never had what I consider a coach, a real coach, until he had Spoelstra. And then he had Ty Lue. But until then, I mean, you go from high school to the NBA, you're on a bad team, coaches change all the time. And he didn't have the benefit of, like, take Michael Jordan. Okay, you go from Dean Smith to Phil Jackson stuff. Come on, man.
Right.
Or Shaq and Kobe, they got Pat Ryan. I mean, come on, And poor LeBron is out here, with Joe on the corner, and all that stuff half the time. And then he finally got good coaching. And one thing, since you're talking about LeBron and the effect number one picking us, LeBron, I hope that Paolo has the same mentality as LeBron has in what a teammate is, on how you make your teammates better and respect you as leader, because he's going to have the ball. They're going to give him the ball, just like they're going to stick him in a Jason Tatum role from day one. He will be handling the ball out front, and he'll be able to do whatever he wants from that top of that key, and he can drive, pass, do whatever he wants to do, because they trust him already. I mean, it's when you think about it, okay, which one of those three is going to be number one? You say, well, this can do this, that. But when you look at the whole picture, you say, the way the NBA game is played today, we've got to take Banchero, because players like this, for the way the game is evolving, just don't come along all the time. And so it's oh wow, he didn't know till the last 20 seconds that he was going to be the number one pick. Yeah, but theoretically it was a no-brainer. If you want to win, he's the one, and you want to win now, or at least start on the right path, he's the one that you got to go with. And if he doesn't make it or something happens, you salute the other guy. Say, hey, I still did what I was supposed to do. Yeah. But again, I don't see how possibly he can fail.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Because of his mentality.
Yeah, that's a good
one
point.
thing. He's not going to fail.
Right. Now, real quick, we got about 5 minutes. I want to, Torrey Eason, again, coming out of, Garfield High School, was at Cincinnati his freshman year, and was coming off the bench and then transferred. And the transfer portal is no joke. And I mean, I love the fact that these kids now have options. And there's some video of Torrey Eason, and has really filled out, and it's 6'8", and can get it done. But he transferred to LSU, and he was AP honorable mention All-American, but he was first team All-SEC. He was sixth man of the year. Had a great year at LSU and earned himself a spot on that team. Averaged almost 17 points a game, almost 7 rebounds a game, and is a guy who again just really can get it done. And here's another guy who they don't talk about him as a 3-point shooter. He's more that kind of power guy and what have you, but he can hit the three at high school. I mean, he would be on the baseline taking some threes. I'm like, man, this big guy coming off the bench as a freshman. And so again, he was the second of Houston's 3 first-round picks. And I mentioned this earlier, Dave. I want to just take a minute or two. Then I want to talk about MarJon Beauchamp. But when a team has, again, you got first-round picks. I mean, the logic is those first-round picks are going to come in, and they're going to make an impact on the team. Maybe not year one. You hope it is year one, but I mean, they're going to make a significant impact. Houston, kind of maneuvered and what have you, had 3 first-round picks, 2, and then they traded for, after their third pick, the third pick they traded, I should say. So the Grizzlies, Memphis, drafted Ty Washington Jr. from Kentucky, and then was traded to Houston. But how much, when you look at a team that has 3 number 1 picks like that in the top, 20, 30 picks, that's got to be a game changer for a franchise. Yeah,
and again, talking about Easton in particular, the key of all the things you said was he was a 6th man of the year. Guess what? You will be coming off the bench. And being able to play off the bench is a mentality that everybody doesn't have. And he knows, and I'm almost positive that's one thing you're looking at. This guy can change the game, but guess what? He knows how to come off the bench. It's not easy to come off a bench. Yeah. It isn't. Yeah. And, there are very few guys who really dominate. James Harden started off the bench. And Manu Ginobili, as you know, one of my favorite players of all time, he was a 6th man. The 6th man does not mean you're not good. Because some people can't play unless they start. It's a special guy that can come off the bench, and Easton has experience, knows what that is like. And I'm sure that, I'm not saying he won't ever be a starter, but he's not going to be a starter right away. Yeah. And so he knows what it takes. And I think he's going to, of all of those latter non-lottery pick, later first-round picks, I think he's going to be the biggest surprise as any of those guys.
He's got. I think you talked about Paulo and the guy who can play right now. I mean, I think Torrey's got an NBA type of body. He can get it done right now. I think we'll surprise some people with the shot and what have you as he gets more and more comfortable. But he is long. He's rangy. He can defend. He's just a great athlete. So he's off to Houston. And then MarJon Beauchamp, we got just a couple of minutes left. But MarJon kind of winding path and was in the G League. And man, here's another guy. He would just, when he was at Garfield, they say one thing he's got to really work on is his outside jumper. But in high school, I mean, he was streaky, but he can hit the 3. And when he gets going, like anybody, I mean, he can hit it. But he's a kid who I think has really worked hard. And I loved when they announced him and he came up and he was so emotional and just talked about being in this position. And he had taken a year off with COVID and what have you, and wasn't sure that he was going to keep playing. And a talent like that. So he's you got to remember something else too. Oh, here real quickly if we can get it.
I'm just glad, I'm just happy, God never gave up on me. Everything I had to go through, all the adversity, and no one believing in me, it's just special.
Kevin just talked about how unorthodox.
Thanks. We can come back out of that. So, David, real quick, you got about a minute. You were going to say though.
The other thing you've got to understand is you take Banchero, you take all these other guys. Guess what? Their teams can't even smell the playoffs. He's going to one of the 3 best teams in the entire league, which is going to help. Which is going to help a lot because he is going to be put right into a winning atmosphere where he understands and knows, and he will learn from that stuff. So he's got a big advantage. And I have a problem. I know he's a young kid, all this stuff, but don't say everybody's giving up on you when the Milwaukee Bucks draft you in the first round.
Yeah, hello.
They didn't give up on you, son. But I hope he keeps that same attitude, though. I have to prove that I can play. I have to prove I can play because he's going to a situation that is far better situation that the other guys are in.
Yeah, no doubt. We are out of time. That's David DuPree. Thank you, my brother, for spending some time with me here over the last several weeks, and we have enjoyed your insight. And we will I guess come back sometime in the fall, and we'll get you back on as basketball season comes back around. But that is David DuPree. I am Dupe, your host, and just want to remind you that I'll be taking a little bit of a break here. We'll be going on hiatus for a couple of months, but that doesn't mean Monday night won't be here, because the best of will play each week. So if you enjoy what you've heard here on Monday Night Sports, make sure to just tune in as we are on hiatus, and some of your favorite shows, previous editions, will air, and then we'll be back in September with a focus on the Seahawks. Anyway, that will do it. Hope you've enjoyed the show and enjoy this weather. Until next time, I'm Duke. Peace and God bless.